What if I told you that you have a superpower, one you were born with, but somewhere along the way, you kind of forgot how to use it? Well, you do. It's the secret sauce behind geniuses who see what everyone else misses. And by the end of this, you're going to know exactly how to get it back. But first, let's try a quick test. Go back to that first slide. Did you happen to notice the font of the title changed? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. It's a super tiny detail, but that little blind spot, that's exactly what we're here to talk about, just how much we miss every single day. And more importantly, how we can start to really see. You see, observation isn't some boring skill you have to learn from a textbook. It's a fundamental power we've all just let get a little rusty. This is the same power that, when we were kids, let us figure out how to walk, how to know our parents' face, how to understand the entire world before we even knew any words. It's the power that the great minds of history absolutely mastered. And this isn't some abstract idea, right? This power has led to some of the biggest, most world-changing moments in history. It's how Da Vinci was able to capture that timeless, mysterious smile. It's what made Newton look at a falling apple and ask, wait, why? It's how Darwin pieced together the puzzle of evolution. And today, it's what lets people like Elon Musk look at a red dot in the sky and plan a future for humanity there. Observation, you guys, is the engine of every single great idea. And this isn't just for historical legends and old books. Look at Safin Hassan. This guy became India's youngest ever IPS officer at just 22 years old. So how did he ace one of the toughest exams in the country on his very first try? Sure, he studied, but his real secret weapon? He spent years just observing. He watched interviews, studied the experiences, and learned from the mistakes of every candidate who came before him. That deep observation gave him an edge that no amount of book smarts ever could. So when you see how much of an advantage it gave him, you have to ask, if this power is so incredible, why aren't we all using it all the time? Well, the answer isn't out there in the world. It's inside our own heads. It's a powerful, hidden filter that's secretly running the show. Okay, get ready for this number. Every single second of every day, your senses, your eyes, your ears, everything, are taking in about 11 million bits of information. 11 million. That is an insane amount of data just flooding your system constantly. So the big question is, how much of that do we actually notice? Out of those 11 million bits, our conscious brain, the part of us that's paying attention, processes about 40. Yep, 40. That means we are only aware of a tiny, tiny fraction of 1% of what's going on around us. Our brain literally has no choice but to be incredibly picky about what it lets in. So how does it choose? Through a process called selective attention. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like this. Your brain is a massive nightclub, and there is a very, very strict bouncer at the front door. There is no way it's letting all 11 million people in. That would be total chaos. So the bouncer handpicks about 40 VIPs to let through the velvet rope, based on who it thinks is most important right now. So, how does the bouncer decide who's on the VIP list? It checks what's already inside what Sherlock Holmes called the brain attic. Think of your mind as an attic, a storage room. You don't just fill it with random junk, right? You furnish it with things that are actually useful to you, things for your job, your hobbies, your goals. That's why a police officer walking down the street literally sees different things than a painter does. Their attics are furnished for totally different purposes. And this is exactly why it is so crucial to be intentional about what we put in our brain attic. As Marilyn Vos Savant, who has one of the highest recorded IQs ever, put it, studying gets you knowledge, sure, but observation, that's what leads to wisdom. It's the difference between just knowing a bunch of facts and truly, deeply understanding how things connect. All right, but there's a plot twist here. The single biggest thing standing between you and crystal clear observation, it isn't the complex world, and it isn't even your brain's filter. It's something much, much closer to home. It's your own thoughts. Just think about how a little kid sees the world. For them, it is pure sensory input. They just see what is. A red ball is just a red ball. They're open, they're curious. But as adults, everything we see gets filtered through this constant stream of thoughts. We don't just see a tree. We immediately think about what it means. Oh, it's a maple tree, its leaves are going to make a mess, I need to trim that branch. We're so busy judging and categorizing, we forget to just see. The real villain in this story, the thing that's blocking our view, is what we can call the thought cloud. You know what I'm talking about? That constant internal chatter, the worries about tomorrow, the replaying of yesterday, the mental to-do lists. It's like a fog that gets between our senses and the real world. And here's the kicker. This thought cloud, it's not even that useful. Research shows that something like 95% of our thoughts are just repetitive, the same exact loops we ran yesterday and the day before. And on top of that, a staggering 75% of those thoughts tend to be negative. So we're essentially blocking our view of the beautiful, interesting present moment with a fog of old, unhelpful junk. So, how in the world do we clear the fog? How do we part this thought cloud and switch our superpower back on? Okay, this is where we get to the good stuff. The actual practical toolkit you can use to start observing like a genius, starting today. So, a huge challenge is making our observations actually stick. Our short-term memory is, well, short. The memory palace technique is an incredible way around this. You take details you want to remember and you weave them into a bizarre, vivid story inside a place you know really well, like your own house. Your brain is hardwired for stories, not for boring lists. So a weird story about a pizza jumping on your bed is way easier to remember than just buy pizza. Okay, here it is. 4 practices to build your observer's toolkit. First, sensational data gathering. To pull yourself into the present moment, just pause and use the 5-4-3-2-1 method. Silently name 5 things you can see, 4 you can feel, 3 you can hear, 2 you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. Second, brain attic formation. Before you walk into a meeting or a conversation, decide your focus. Tell yourself, okay, for the next 10 minutes, I am only going to observe body language. Third, make those observations stick using the memory palace we just talked about. And finally, when that thought cloud gets too noisy, quiet it down with presence of mind using box breathing. It's simple. Breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4. Breathe out for 4, hold for 4. It's like a reset button for your brain. Now, these practices will absolutely sharpen your focus on the world outside, but they also lead to this much deeper, really interesting question from the philosopher J. Krishnamurti. He said, observe the observer. As you get better and better at seeing the world out there, can you also turn that powerful lens inward? Can you start to see the one who is doing all the seeing? Now that is a thought to take with you as you go out and start to see the world for the first time all over again.